To understand the tragedy of the Jedi Order, one must look at the life and the many deaths of Shaak Ti. A Togruta master of immense serenity and tactical brilliance, she was the calm eye of the storm during the Clone Wars. While others were consumed by the fires of the front lines, Shaak Ti was the architect of the future. She was stationed on the ocean world of Kamino, overseeing the birth and training of the Grand Army of the Republic. She saw the clones not just as biological assets, but as her children, her students, and her responsibility. "We haven't lost yet," she told Prime Minister Lamassu during a separatist siege. "Will Jedi still breathe? We will not abandon Kamino." She fought off the liquid shadows of Asajj Ventress and the mechanical terror of General Grievous. She survived the massacre at Hypori, where she witnessed the near annihilation of a Jedi task force by the Kaleesh cyborg. But her true test came not on a battlefield, but in the halls of her own home. As the war reached its horrific crescendo, Shaak Ti was tasked with the defense of the Jedi Temple on Coruscant. She was there when the 501st Legion marched up the steps. She was there when the sky turned red with the blood of the younglings. And in the chaos of Operation Nightfall, she achieved something few others could. She escaped the heart of the Sith's new empire. The organization of Shaak Ti's life in exile was a desperate attempt to preserve a flicker of light. She fled the capital, a ghost in a galaxy that was being rapidly paved over by the New Order. She found Maris Brood, a Padawan orphaned by the Purge, and teetering on the edge of the dark side. Together, they settled on the fungal, bioluminescent world of Felucia. It was a planet of raw, primal force energy, a place where the jungle itself was alive and hungry. Shaak Ti did not just hide, she became a goddess to the native jungle Felucians. She trained them. She tempered their aggression with the discipline of the Jedi Code. She turned a wild world into a fortress of the light. But the shadows of the Sith are long, and Darth Vader's memory is perfect. He knew she was out there. He knew that as long as a member of the High Council lived, the Jedi Order was not truly dead. He dispatched his secret apprentice, the boy known as Starkiller, to finish what Order 66 had started. When the Sith assassin arrived on Felucia, he didn't find a broken old woman. He found a master at the height of her connection to the living force. The duel in the ancient abyss was a collision of two different eras of the Force. Starkiller brought the raw, untamed fury of the Sith, a power built on destruction and pain. Shaak Ti brought the refined, harmonious strength of the Jedi, using the very environment as her weapon. She rode upon a rancor, commanding the beasts of the jungle with a thought. She called upon the Felucians, who fought with a religious fervor for their Jedi mother. As they clashed over the maw of a massive sarlacc, the air crackled with the energy of their lightsabers. Shaak Ti moved with a grace that mocked the assassin's heavy, aggressive strikes. But Starkiller was a vacuum, a void that consumed everything it touched. He pushed through her defenses, his power growing with every drop of blood spilled. Realizing that her time had finally come, Shaak Ti did not plead for mercy. She looked at the boy, Vader's tool, Vader's victim, and felt only pity. "Poor boy," she whispered, her voice carrying over the roar of the sarlacc. "The Sith always betray one another, but I'm sure you'll learn that soon enough." With those final words, she cast herself into the ancient abyss. She chose her own end, a final act of autonomy in a galaxy that had tried to dictate her fate. The legacy of Shaak Ti is a tangled web of history and what-ifs. In the official records of the Empire, she was a traitor who fell on Felucia. But within the Jedi archives and the many drafts of history, her end is famously fluid. At one point, she was to be killed by General Grievous aboard the Invisible Hand. In another, she was to be run through by Anakin Skywalker in the meditation chambers of the temple. These lost deaths only reinforce the mystery of her character. She was a Jedi who seemed to exist in multiple places at once, a master who was too cunning to be caught by a single fate. Her real impact, however, was on those she left behind. Maris Brood, without T's guidance, succumbed to the darkness of the Felucian jungle, becoming a mirror of the very thing Shaak Ti had tried to prevent. The jungle Felucians fell into a spiral of aggression, their connection to the light severed by her passing. Yet, for a brief moment on a forgotten world, Shaak Ti had proved that the Jedi could adapt, that they could lead not just armies of clones, but the very life force of a planet. She remains the ultimate symbol of the Togrutan spirit, fierce, community-driven, and profoundly connected to the natural world. The death of Shaak Ti marked the true end of the Jedi High Council's influence in the physical galaxy. With her fall, the last major organized pocket of Jedi resistance was extinguished. The Empire's grip on the Outer Rim tightened, and the names of the Old Masters began to fade into myth. But her warnings to Starkiller were prophetic. The Sith did betray one another. Vader's apprentice would eventually turn toward the light, sparked in part by the dignity and pity he saw in the woman he was sent to kill. Shaak Ti's death was a seed. It planted the first doubts in the mind of a killer. It showed that even in a world of red lightsabers and iron fists, a Jedi could die with her soul intact. She was the most cunning of them all, as Obi-Wan said, because she knew that winning the war was impossible, but keeping the faith? That was a victory the Sith could never take from her. She remains a pillar of the Order's history, a master of the old way who faced the new order and refused to blink. Her spirit, like the seeds of the Felucian jungle, waited for a spring that would not come for 20 more years. But when it did, it was built on the foundation she helped lay.